In New Zealand, the transport of deer is regarded as a specialist operation and as such is controlled and monitored by the Deer QA Transport Program, managed by Deer Industry New Zealand. All transporters carrying deer are required to be accredited to this program. The program sets out clearly defined industry-agreed standards to ensure that the welfare, safety and security of the deer are taken into account at all times. There is a fair expectation by the transport driver that certain conditions will have been met by the farmer prior to the loading of deer for transportation.
The farmer has a legal responsibility to present stock for transport that are fit and healthy, and also a moral obligation to ensure that he makes the transport operator aware of any potentially dangerous animals to be loaded.
It is the driver's responsibility to ensure the safety, welfare and security of the deer during transportation. So the driver needs to ensure only fit and healthy animals are transported.
Right, so now we've got our 5 deer ready, so now we'll put them up into the truck. So if we just quietly walk around. Come on, babies.
The QA Transport Manual clearly sets out the responsibilities of the driver for the effective and humane handling and transportation of deer, and defines the parameters and requirements of appropriate deer crates for the various species.
Now, as we see in here, we talked about earlier about the velvet. We can see through here there's a freshly velveted stag where he's bleeding from the pedicle. That is not acceptable, hence why they have to have that 7-day healing period before they're transported.
Pen density, which is the number of deer per pen, obviously impacts on the safety and the welfare of the deer being transported. The standards for loading densities are clearly defined in the Deer QA Operating Standards Manual, and the loading densities are based around a 100 kg live weight animal. Once the deer are loaded onto the transport, the correct paperwork must be completed.
I guess there's 2 or 3 things you really need to ensure that you've done correctly, and the first would be your paperwork. You've received the appropriate ASD form from the farmer and that it is filled out correct, and that you have filled out your delivery docket and left a copy with the farmer. The best advice I could give to anyone who is just entering the industry is to drive your vehicle like you've got a baby in the back seat. On a day like today, when it's really, really hot, it is quite important that you do keep travelling and minimise your stops to as short as possible, because they need to have the air circulation flowing through the crate.